Science.
This is episode 3 of Physics Astronomy Guys. I'm Alan.
And I'm Ian. This is a show about science.
So to start off today's episode, we're going to answer the viewer question from last episode. And that was, why is it that even though the farther you get from Earth, the closer gravity gets to zero, it never quite reaches zero? Yet if you fall from an infinite distance towards Earth, you will only reach a finite speed.
Good question. What's the answer to that, Alan?
Well, the answer comes in the form of a Calc 2 concept called the divergence theorem, which for a geometric sequence says that whatever your ratio is that you're adding, it should be some 1 over r, or it could be less than 1 or greater than 1, raised to some power p, which oftentimes is just 1, but there's still some power p. And if p is greater than 1, the number will always converge, which means if you add up the change in gravitational potential energies from point A to point B and continue to infinity, you'll only reach a finite number, similar to walking towards a wall and only walking halfway each time. And that number that you reach happens to be equal to the Earth's escape velocity.
And nobody answered that. That's why there's no name right there. But we did get somebody to comment and say what they felt like the viewer topic should be, and that was Just the Kid 61, and they wanted us to do a topic on all the NASA missions from Mercury to Skylab, which is Gemini and Apollo in between there. And so we're going to do a shorter topic that we choose after our current event. And so our current event today, Alan?
NASA launched a spacecraft called Stardust NExT, and on February 14th, it will be reaching its first comet. It's actually going to take samplings from 2 comets. The first one's going to be Comet Tempel 1, and when it does reach there, unlike Deep Impact, it won't send a probe and collect actual samples from the comet. It's just going to take samples from the tail of the comet. And it's going to take that from 2 different comets, which will give a lot of information on Jupiter system comets.
And we also had another current event, but we weren't sure about some copyright laws, so we're just going to tell you where to find it. It'll be in the link below, phys.org.com. Just type in the search bar, double slit experiment, or split, one of the two.
Or we'll probably post a link in the description.
The link will be in the description, but if you...
It gives some information on a double slit experiment. It said that the information couldn't be redistributed, so we weren't entirely sure about their copyright laws, but...
So we'll let you guys go figure it out. And so that'll bring us to our shorter pick topic
choice,
which is, Alan?
It's going to be how to calculate gravity.
And how do you calculate gravity, Alan?
Well, since Newton's time, it's been known that every object is gravitationally attracted to every other object. And the way you calculate that is you take the gravitational constant, which is about 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11, and multiply it by the mass of one object, multiplied by the mass of the other object, and then divide that number by the distance between them squared. So that'll give you a value in newtons or pounds, depending on which system you use.
So that's how you calculate gravity, I guess.
That's the gravitational attraction between 2 objects.
And so I guess we'll move on to our viewer topic of choice. We're going to split it up into different episodes because it is a fairly broad topic. So this episode will be Mercury, the Mercury project, and then it'll be the Gemini project and the Apollo and Skylab project.
So we'll have a 3-part series there.
Yeah. And so at the beginning of NASA, it started with Russia launching Sputnik into space,
which was in 1957.
And that made it so that we were behind in the space race. I guess it didn't really start then, but it's pretty much when it started. And so NASA was formed, and they wanted to get a man into space as fast as they could. And so, after a lot of failed rockets, like uh, Little Joe, which was a couple failed rockets, but I think it worked out after a while, and Redstone, that was also another rocket that they used in the first Mercury mission, which was flown by Alan Shepard, the first American into space.
And he didn't actually complete an orbit, but he was the first suborbital astronaut.
If you don't want to count,
America.
Yeah, from America. If you don't want to count Joe Kittinger, but
because he didn't actually reach 62 miles, he reached 20 miles.
But that's a different topic, I guess. So, Alan Shepard flew on a Redstone rocket, and his capsule on top was called Freedom 7. He was pretty much just the first astronaut into space. They picked him because he was considered the smartest of the 7 original astronauts, and so they thought if something broke, he would be most likely to figure it out or fix it.